Hello everyone. So in today's session we will discuss about EC2 instance and the S3 bucket connection, like how we can connect uh, with the S3 bucket from the EC2 instance. So we will discuss about the background and the useful commands and the steps. Okay. So background is already shared, like we will try to connect from EC2 instance to the S3 bucket, and the very useful command is the first one which you see on very top, ssh-i, keep your name and the user and the public IP. So you need to provide the private file, key file, and the username and the public IP to connect uh, with the EC2 instance through the SSH. Okay, and the other command is required, like in general when you create a private file it will be having all the access with all the users, so you need to specify, you need to give a permission, read only permission to the owner of that file only. So you need to change the file permissions. And the third command is very useful, AWS configure, which is useful when you provide the key and the secrets, a user specific key and secrets to the AWS. Okay, let's do the exercise. Thank you. Before we proceed further, let's discuss about what are the ways and what different ways we have to connect with the S3 bucket. Like in the very first scenario, we will create a IAM role, and we will provide that, we will attach that IAM role to the EC2 instance, and EC2 instance itself will be able to access the S3 bucket because we have directly attached, given a permission to the EC2 instance. In the other way, like we will create a user, and we will provide S3 full access to that particular user, so the user itself can access the S3 bucket. So these are different ways we have created. Okay, and you can see in the first slide, like we will create a S3 bucket, then we will create a role, and then create a access key, okay, the private key to connect with the EC2 instance, and then we will allow 22 port to 4 SSH inbound in security groups, and then we will do the attach the roles to the EC2 instant and validate the S3. Okay, in the other approach we won't create any role, we will just create a user and provide the access to that particular user. Okay, so you can note these, note it down, so you can do the simpler exercise. Okay, yeah, let's move for the doing the actual exercise. Login into the AWS console. Okay, web services, then we will do the sign in process. Sign in is done. So we have, okay, let's go to the main portal. Okay, sign into the console. So this is the very first step, we need to first sign into the console. Okay, and after signing into the console, let's move for the S3 bucket. So you can see, like uh, I am in this particular region. Okay, let's create a bucket. Give a name like my bucket for C2, and select a region. Okay, so let's keep the same region, whatever the region we have, and then object ownership, all object in the bucket are owned by this account, yet it should be owned by this account only. block all public access. Yes, block all the public access. Bucket versioning, disable. Yes, we need to disable it because we are not doing the production activity. If you are creating any bucket for the production, you need to enable the bucket versioning, so you can, in case of any issue, you can uh, get back your S3 bucket, or you can recreate your S3 bucket. Okay, suppose there is any issue in this particular region and you lost your data, so through the versioning you can get it back. Okay, let's give a tag, name and values as 3 bucket. Amazon S3 managed key services. Yes, this is the keys which will be required. So Amazon will, through we will create the keys through the Amazon, and those will be required to connect with the S3. So we are doing that. Okay, bucket key, enable key EMS encryption used to encrypt new objects in this bucket. Yes, encrypt the new objects. Advanced setting, object lock disabled. Okay, I don't know what it is, but still, let's create it. Okay, seems like this bucket is already there globally. Okay, so we should give a unique name to the bucket. My bucket for EC2, and what name we can give it, EC2 instance. You can see my bucket for EC2, EC4, EC2 to S3. Okay, let's give this one. So this is the bucket name. This is like typical name, but we have to remember it. Okay, uh, let's move. Let's try to create a bucket now. Oops, the bucket is successfully created. Let's see some information into it. Okay, so this is the ARN for this bucket. Okay, and no other information. Matrix you can see later on. Okay, access point. Let's do one more thing, like add a file in this particular bucket. Let's upload a file. Let's pick this intro one. Okay, so let's pick this one, upload it. Okay, so file will take some time. So upload is completed. You can see the file upload is completed. Okay, and let's create a role for this, and IAM role. The next step is to create a role. Let's create it. Now open it in the very next tab, and then it will take some time. Okay, so 13 roles are there. Okay, so let's create a specific role. Let's create a there are multiple trusted entities, AWS account, web entity. So we will create a entity, AWS service. Allow AWS service like EC2, Lambda, other to perform actions in this account. Okay, so we are creating and role for EC2 instance. Okay, and what permissions we are doing, common use EC2. Okay, next, what permission we are trying to give, S3 full access. S3 full access, let's give S3 full access. Okay, set permission boundary, create role without a permission boundary. Okay, role name is S3 access, and let's move further. S3 bucket role. No need to do that. This is fine. So S3 access is created out here. You can see this role is created. This is the role which has full access of S3, and this role is for the EC2 instance. Okay, so we will attach this role to a specific EC2 instance so that particular EC2 instance can directly access the S3 bucket. Okay, so now next step is to let's create an EC2 instance. EC2 instance. Okay, like there is, you can see no running instance out here. Let's create one instance, go to launch instances and give a name, my instance to connect with S3. Pick any of the AMI, okay, the image which you see out here. Let's pick this one as on Linux. Okay, and this is the free tier. Let's pick the free tier for freeze code. Okay, instance type T3 micro we have selected. Key pair, like I'm already having one key pair, but I want to create a separate key pair so you can understand more like how this key pair really works. Okay, so let's give a S3 key pair RSA, so encryption will be RSA, and we require this key pair to use with the SSH. Yes, we need it for the SSH. Okay, S3 key pair, we got the S3 key pair. Okay, select the S3 key pair and create a security group. No, let's choose the existing one. I will use the security group, the existing security group. Okay, and this particular security group should be having inbound permission for the SSH with the 22 port. We will see it. Okay, what all information are required there, and then what else we require. Okay, so we are done with the subnet and giving a name to the instance. Okay, volume, no, we don't require any extra volume. Okay, and then these are also not necessary. You can add some some initial commands which you want to run through the EC2 instance launch. Okay, let's launch an instance. Okay, so instance is created and it will be activated in few minutes. Okay, like you can see it is initializing. Okay, and once it is initialized, what we can do meanwhile, we can go to the security and modify IAM role, and we can add that role out here. So we have created S3 access, so like we have given that role to this particular EC2 instance. Okay, update IAM role. Okay, so once when we will login into this particular instance, we will be able to access that S3 bucket. Okay, so let's see what happens next. So let's see if the instance is started. So EC2, so this is our key pair. Let's go back to the EC2 dashboard and see. So instance is running now. Okay, let's try to access this particular instance from a terminal window. Terminal. Okay, so we have a terminal, and from the terminal we can do SSH. SSH is working here. So let's do something with it. Okay, let's try SSH. -i, then the key pair S3 key pair dot PAM, and then the EC2 hyphen user username. You can look into the that particular image configuration, like what user is being used out there, and along with this you need to use the public IP. So as like whatever the VPC is being used with this particular instance, like we have used the default VPC, and the default VPC is accessible through the internet because of the internet gateway or some those kind of configuration. So if you want to look into that, like how we can access a VPC, a EC2 instance publicly, then you can watch my other video I will create soon uh, to attach the VPC with the internet gateway. Okay. So let's cancel it, and where is the terminal? Terminal is here. Let's paste it. Okay. So it is saying that there is no such yes. Okay. So no, let's make it clear. PWT and ls cd. Let's move to the downloads and DOWN. Okay. In downloads, I'm having that particular private key. So let's try now. S3 pair. Okay, it should work now. Okay, it is working, and you can see like this permission is denied. Bad permission are assigned with this particular key pair. So like I discussed initially, like we have to this as of now this particular private key is having all the access for all the users, so we give a ownership to this particular user only. So what we can do, we can change the permission 400, and let's see what is the current permissions we have, and ls okay, let me go back, and permissions 400 S3 so we have modified the permissions. Now let's run the SSH command again. Okay, we are inside the EC2. Okay, good. So we are inside the EC2, and let's see what happens. Okay, let's S3 ls hyphen S3 ls, and the bucket name will be my bucket name is, and my bucket name we have. So bucket name is, this one is our bucket name. Copy, try that with the bucket. Okay, and let's change the command AWS S3 ls. Okay, so like this is our bucket name. So we are inside the bucket. Let's okay, ls and my bucket to S3, and it should be having one file. So this is having file, and which we can use. Bucket name is my bucket 2 S3. Code EC2 S3. So you can see like we are able to access that file. So we have successfully integrated with the S3 from this particular EC2 instance. Let's do something else. Let's try to remove the permissions, like the role from this particular EC2 instance. So here we have EC2 instance. Okay, let's remove the role which we have uh, attached with this particular instance. So what I'm doing, I'm going to the security, modify I'm role, and no I am role, update I am role, and detach detach. Okay, so detach is completed. Let's see again in the terminal if we are able to access, okay, the bucket. You can see that you can configure credentials by running AWS configure to connect with the S3. So you can see now we are unable to connect with the S3. So let's do the other step, like the second scenario where we have shared like this is the second step which we need to do, like create an S3 bucket and create using IAM user. We should able to connect with the S3 bucket. So let's do this activity. Let's go and let's create an user. IAM user. Okay, first remove that particular role. You can remove that role later on. And users, go to the users and add a user, create a user, uh, test user for S3, and provide a user access to AWS console. No, this is not required. Add a user to group. No. Attach a policy directly with it. You can create a group also, but for this exercise it is not really necessary. We can give a S3 full access to this particular user. Let's give a S3 full access. Next, and we are done. Good. We have given full access to this particular user. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to provide a credential to this user. So those credential can be used, security credentials. And so first we need to provide access key to this particular user, security credentials. Okay, and there is multiple options like multi-factor authentications, access key. So let's create an access key and provide this to user, like we are trying through the AWS CLI. Okay, so create a access key for the AWS CLI, accept it. Okay, access key for S4. And so we have created the uh, access key. Let's copy the access key somewhere. Okay, let's copy, hide, and we are done. We have created. So what we need to do, go back to the terminal again, type in AWS configure, and then click enter default reason. Let's don't provide any reason. This is not really required. Put format, and we are good. Let's try to access the S3 bucket again. So this is the command which we have used already. Okay, so oops, now we are able to connect with it. Good. So that is all for the session. Like, we are able to connect with the S3 bucket using the IAM role and the user itself. Thank you for watching. I missed one point in the beginning about the security groups, because my security group already had that particular configuration. Like when like uh, like with the instance, we have attached one security group. Let me show you that where do we have that security group. Okay. Yeah, here we have security group. So this is our security group, the default security group. So if we look into the security group, what we have as a inbound request, like we have allowed all the requests for SSH, okay, from any of the API. So we have allowed SSH request. That is why we are able to access into the system through the SSH. So you need to configure this or verify this, that this is your security group which you have selected with your instance is having that security group or not. And that particular information you can when you go to the EC2 dashboard and security groups, so you will see a list of security groups out here. So as you see in my system, I'm having only the default security groups, and this is having the configuration, okay, and this is already having the SSH configuration, so it's good, okay. And you can modify it also, like edit inbound rules. So if you not have this inbound rules, you should be having it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.